Hi, everyone. Welcome to Wish Fulfilled, where travel wishes come true. I'm Jen, a travel agent and your host. And this podcast is for anyone who's dreamed about traveling the world but felt like it was way out of reach. It was never a possibility because it's too expensive, too complicated, or too unrealistic for real life because of everything that's going on. You ever said someday when talking about travel, this podcast is for you? Here's something I believe in with my whole heart. Most people don't lack the desire to travel, they lack the permission. Permission to believe it's possible, permission to start small, permission to stop waiting for that perfect time. And today, I want to talk about that travel doesn't have to stay a wish and how it becomes fulfilled. For a long time, travel felt like a dream for other people, including myself. You know, the influencers, the trust fund kids, the people who somehow just made it work. Meanwhile, real life was still happening bills, responsibilities, schedules. I used to think that travel for me wasn't going to work. So I kept saying, I'll travel when I have more money. Big one that most people talk about. Or I'll travel when life slows down. When my kids were growing up, I didn't have much of my own time. Everything was focused around what they wanted to do and what I wanted them to be able to have to an experience for later in life throughout school, throughout community projects and community services, whatever I could do to make them learn responsibility is real. And then I'll travel when everything lines up. Never did, unfortunately. But here's the truth I learned the hard way. That moment never magically arrived. What does arrive is regret if you keep waiting. The shift happened when I realized travel doesn't start with a plan for a plane ticket. It started with a decision. So let me bust the big myth right now. Travel isn't reserved for the rich. It's reserved for the intentional. Most people think money is the main obstacle, but actually it's fear, overwhelm, not knowing where to begin. When travel stays vague, it stays a wish. When it gets specific, it becomes a plan, and plans can be fulfilled. So, I'm going to give you an example. My husband was diagnosed with a form of cancer, and his dream, his wish, was to go to Nashville and see all the old time country singers, and go to the Grand Ole Opry, and visit some of the iconic museums and see the big music awards. And, never did we even think about doing this because all we did was work. But that plan had to come when we found out my husband was sick. It was sad because we had all these responsibilities. The kids were still growing up, almost one going to college. And then it came down to us. How come we didn't take the time to do that before? Why did we wait so long? Did that perfect time never came around? And now here we're faced with, the possibility of losing one of us and creating, not having any of creation of memories of just a romantic us. And it was sad. Honestly, it was sad. I had been married to my husband for 20 years of my life and never really enjoyed a vacation with him. Everywhere we went was for the kids or for work. It wasn't for us. We didn't take those few moments to say we needed a time to recharge. And now it was too late. He had gotten worse, and I had to think of everything under the sun, including to keep myself healthy. And we decided that we weren't going to fly. So then we had to make a plan to drive, make stops along the way that were going to be convenient so we could stretch our legs and he could get out, make sure that we're eating properly and everything. Now, let me think about this. What would happen if something happened to him on our trip? What would I do? Where would I go? Didn't matter to me. I wanted his wish to come fulfilled. It was important to me. And I wanted to make sure that he got to experience everything that he wanted with this trip. And believe me, he did. I tell you, I remember some of the funny moments of walking through the museums, Dukes of Hazzard. We were talking about Patsy Cline. We were talking about Millie from Hee Haw. We were talking about some amazing, amazing singers, Dolly Parton, and we had some Roy Rogers and all of those. And when we went into these museums and we saw their music awards, it was it just made you take chills to your yourself, and you got to be in the moment. And that was my husband's biggest thing that he ever wanted in life, was to go there. And here my husband was so much older than me. But again, all he did was work, take care of the kids, never took time for himself, and never took time to spend with me. So I'm glad that we had those last few moments together. And I still remember them today. We went to Mission Barbecue, and now Mission Barbecue has made its way up here in well, not near Buffalo, but here in New York. So it's amazing that it's closer, and it was our first experience with that. Loved it. Some of the uh, statues and things that we saw, and Dolly Parton's coat of many colors. And remember each piece of that. And I held his hand and we went through each thing. Some of the things I learned about Willie Nelson, I didn't know. I had no clue. I just took the time to read and learn and cherish those moments with him. And I know that his wish was fulfilled all the way. We even went to the Grand Ole Opry and we got to see some of the older singers up on stage sing us beautiful songs, and some new singers too, which my husband wasn't thrilled about because he was the old time country lover. That was his favorite thing. So, how did I make that happen? I got specific. I stopped saying, I want to travel someday. I wanted to fulfill his wish. Kind of like if you wanted to go to Italy, you would say, I want to go to Italy in the fall. You'd make it a plan, you'd make it an official step. Or I want to take the kids out of the country once. Specific wishes have power. Did you know that? They really do. And as you could tell, I made his wish come fulfilled before I lost him in life. And we stopped waiting for the perfect timing because timing was too short. We should have never done that. We should have taken the time off. We should have went. We should have had fun and just took it and said, the bills will be there when we get back. We can make up for it. Or we can save. Let's plan it a couple years in advance. Now, as a travel agent, I know that. But at that time, I thought I had to have the money right there and then. There's always going to be a reason to delay a trip, but there will always be a reason to go. Travel fits into life. It doesn't wait for life to be finished. It doesn't wait for life to be finished. Powerful message. Don't wait until life has to be finished. Make a plan. Let the wish be possible. You don't have to know how yet. Just have to stop telling yourself it's impossible. That belief alone changes everything. So, why did I create this podcast? Because I wanted to talk about why I should never have waited. I created Wish Fulfilled because I believe travel changes people. I believe it fulfills your wish. It gives you that one moment that you can sit back and say, wow, that was a meaningful trip. It was everything I wanted and more. And it puts that memory, that one moment in time in your history, and it never fades. It never goes away. There's things that I think of now, even though my husband's not here with me anymore, that we did on that trip that I'll never forget. It expands how you see the world, how you see yourself. Think about that. How do you see the world right now? Through the hustle and bustle, you get very short, very stressed, and you need to slow down. Take a moment. Take a moment and see yourself it being someplace. So this podcast isn't for luxury or perfection. It's about real travel, real people, and real possibilities. Each week, we're going to talk about different things: travel stories, honest advice, practical steps, and mindset shifts that move travel from a dream to done, just like we did today. So, if this episode sparked your interest in travel and making it a wish fulfilled, hold on to it. And if you're ready to stop letting that wish sit on the shelf, make sure you follow this podcast and leave a review. It helps people find Wish Fulfilled and learn more about travel. So if you're ready to turn that wish into reality, you can give a travel advisor like myself a call, or you can even give us a call and schedule your trip. Get it on the books. Stop making it just a tomorrow. Make it a plan. Because here, travel wishes don't stay wishes. They come true.